The phone rang in the quiet mansion late one afternoon, and the billionaire's mood was dark. He had decided it was time to fire his maid, someone who had worked in his household for years, keeping everything in perfect order, yet always in the background of his luxurious life. He dialed her number without a second thought, ready to deliver the news, confident it would be a simple conversation. But what happened next would change everything. Instead of the familiar voice on the other end, a young girl answered. The maid's daughter, who had always been shy and invisible in the shadow of the wealthy world around them, spoke up, but what she revealed left the billionaire frozen. In a calm, almost matter-of-fact tone, she dropped a secret so shocking it made him rethink everything. He thought he knew about the people he trusted in his own home. Who was this girl? And why did she know something that could shake a billionaire's world? How could a simple call to fire a maid turn into a moment that would leave everyone questioning loyalties, truths, and the power of hidden knowledge? In the next few minutes, you'll see the story unfold, an ordinary household caught in an extraordinary revelation, where a daughter's courage and a secret from the shadows threaten to turn a life of wealth upside down. The billionaire never expected this, and now neither will you. The billionaire sat back in his leather chair, staring at the phone as the girl's words echoed in his mind. He had known the maid for years, seen her arrive before sunrise, stay late into the night, and handle the chaos of his mansion without complaint. He thought he knew her world, her limits, her life. But this call had opened a door he never expected. The girl's voice had been steady, almost fearless, as if she carried a knowledge far beyond her years. She hinted at something buried in the mansion, something the billionaire had ignored or never noticed in his pursuit of deals, meetings, and power. It was clear she knew secrets about the household and maybe even about him that could not be ignored. Meanwhile, the maid, unaware of the phone call and her daughter's bold confession, was in the kitchen, humming softly as she cleaned. She had no idea that her life, and her daughter's, was now entwined with a revelation that could shift the balance of trust in the entire household. The mansion, usually quiet except for the hum of luxury and the click of polished floors, suddenly felt heavy with tension. Every room seemed to hold a story the billionaire had never cared to uncover. Every hallway a potential hiding place for truths he might not be ready to face. Questions raced through his mind. What exactly did the girl know? Why had she chosen this moment to speak up? And most importantly, what would happen if her secret was true? The billionaire put the phone down but couldn't shake the girl's words. He began pacing the marble floors of his mansion, trying to piece together what she had revealed. The daughter's tone suggested more than a simple family secret, hinted at something that could affect his reputation, his wealth, even his sense of control over the household he had built so meticulously. Every thought brought new tension. What if the maid had been keeping him in the dark all these years? And why now? Meanwhile, upstairs, the daughter sat quietly at her desk, pretending to do homework while listening for any sign of the conversation downstairs. She had always been careful, observing the mansion and its routines, learning who came and went, what was hidden in plain sight. She had chosen this moment because she finally felt ready to protect someone she loved, and to confront a world that often overlooked the powerless. Back in the study, the billionaire began recalling small, odd incidents he had dismissed over the years. A misplaced document, a quiet warning from a staff member, a fleeting glance of the maid in a room he didn't expect her to be. Each memory now seemed connected, each coincidence potentially part of a larger puzzle that the daughter had uncovered. In the kitchen, the maid hummed, oblivious to the storm brewing in the house. Her focus was on her daily routine, yet she sensed something had shifted. The usual order of her world felt fragile, almost threatening. She didn't yet know the magnitude of her daughter's revelation, but she would soon discover that her quiet life and her daughter's bravery had stirred a chain of events that no one in the mansion could ignore. Every character was now standing at the edge of uncertainty, and every action would carry consequences the billionaire couldn't yet predict. The tension was only growing, and the secret the daughter held promised to turn everything upside down. The mansion was unusually quiet that evening, but the air was thick with tension. The billionaire could feel it in every corner, in the subtle creak of the stairs, in the distant murmur of voices he couldn't quite place. He sat back at his desk, his mind racing, trying to anticipate what the maid's daughter might reveal next. Every thought felt like a trap, every memory a clue he had ignored for too long. Upstairs, the daughter paced her room, rehearsing what she would say if confronted, aware that one wrong word could make her secret meaningless or worse, dangerous. She knew the truth she carried wasn't just important, it had the power to shake the foundations of the mansion, to challenge the billionaire's sense of control, and to expose realities no one had dared face. Her courage had brought her to this point, but the stakes were higher than ever. Downstairs, the maid moved through the kitchen, instinctively noticing the tension in the household. Something had shifted, though she couldn't put her finger on it. She felt the weight of the invisible web the daughter had started to unravel, a truth that might disrupt everything the billionaire valued most. She worried, not just for herself, but for her daughter, whose bravery had ignited a storm neither of them fully understood. The billionaire finally made a decision. He would confront the situation directly. Yet he hesitated, unsure how much he could control. Each step toward the truth felt heavier than the last. Every corridor, a reminder that the mansion, his empire of control, might not be as secure as he believed. The billionaire froze, staring at the study door as the knock echoed again, louder this time. His hand hovered over the handle, heart racing not from fear, but from the realization that nothing in this house would ever be the same. When he finally opened it, he didn't find the maid or her daughter. Instead, a man he had never seen before stepped inside. Calm but intense, holding a folder stamped with a confidential seal. "I think you need to see this," the stranger said. Placing the folder on the desk without waiting for an invitation, the billionaire's eyes widened as he glanced at the papers inside. Documents, photos, even recordings, all pointing to events he had dismissed as coincidence or trivial mistakes. Suddenly, the revelation from the maid's daughter wasn't just a secret confined to the household, it was tied to something much bigger. Something that could affect his reputation, his fortune, and the very structure of his empire. Upstairs, the daughter peeked from behind her bedroom door, unaware that the stranger had entered. She had thought her secret alone would shift the balance of power, but now it was clear she had only scratched the surface. The billionaire's world, which she had quietly observed for years, was far more tangled than she had imagined. Meanwhile, the maid sensed a growing unease in the mansion. Every creak, every muted conversation downstairs hinted at a storm about to break, and she felt powerless to stop it. She realized that her daughter's courage had triggered a chain reaction, one that neither of them fully understood, and one that could bring unforeseen consequences to everyone under the roof. The tension was now unbearable. Secrets, power, and hidden truths were converging in a way that promised a revelation no one in the mansion could ignore. But the billionaire still had no idea just how high the stakes had risen. The billionaire slowly opened the folder, his hands trembling as the evidence spilled out before him. Every photo, every document confirmed what the maid's daughter had hinted at, a long-hidden truth that connected the household to a series of financial irregularities and covert decisions he had never suspected. The daughter's revelation wasn't just about loyalty or honesty, it was about a secret network operating within his own walls, one that had shielded him from fraud while quietly protecting the people he trusted most. He looked up at the stranger, whose calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the chaos of emotions swirling inside the billionaire. "You knew all this?" he demanded. The man nodded, explaining that he had been monitoring the situation for months, waiting for the right moment to intervene. The shock intensified as the billionaire realized the maid and her daughter had been quietly safeguarding his interests without ever drawing attention to themselves. The daughter's courage had been the spark that exposed a hidden truth he never could have uncovered alone. The maid appeared at the doorway, her face a mixture of relief and apprehension. The billionaire, for the first time, truly saw her not just as a staff member, but as someone whose intelligence, loyalty, and discretion had quietly shaped the safety of his empire. He swallowed his pride, feeling a mix of shame and gratitude, just as the tension seemed to ease. The daughter stepped forward and handed him another envelope, smaller, unmarked. Inside was a single USB drive. "There's one more secret," she said softly, a glint of determination in her eyes. The billionaire froze, realizing that even now, the story wasn't over. Whatever was on that drive could change everything once again, and this time, no